There's that Tucker Carlson documentary about what is happening to the people who have been prosecuted over January 6th and that fucking guided tour that was happening, and the narrative around that is really falling apart, even though that select committee is still spurging out over there in the corner. Nobody really cares about them. We just want to kind of figure out what the fucking facts are at this point. But Tucker Carlson and Elijah Schaffer explore what really happened on January 6th. Well, somebody should. Tucker Carlson is launching a 10-part documentary series on the Capitol riot of January 6th, months in the making this week, and he sat down with the Blaze's Elijah Schaffer, who was at the Capitol on that faithful day. All right, the series is going to be called Patriot Purge, and it has been long awaited across the political spectrum because, you know, somebody's got to talk about it. Speaking from his journalistic experience of being on the ground, Schaffer gave his account of how the events unfolded that day and the incredibly one-sided aftermath that followed. Yep, very much so. Everybody that was there was dangerous and riotous. Okay, where's all the damage? Didn't you see the broken window? Okay, cool. That's really bad and everything, but okay, so you got the one window. Oh, there was nooses and gallows outside, and there was somebody who was shot. Yeah, but a trigger-happy police officer who we had to wait and find out, and I had a video taken down because it said Michael Bird beforehand, and there was a credible report that said this is probably the guy. And then a couple of weeks later, it was like, yeah, that was exactly who the guy was. But yeah, that was Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed. The only person who was killed. But there were 6 other people. Yeah, and they all died of weird medical conditions off-site. Okay, but there was one lady who was trampled. She overdosed. But don't mention any of the police officers who just seemed to magically kill themselves weeks and months afterwards. Yeah, there's nothing fucking funny about that, but definitely more tragic than 9/11 and the most destructive thing to have ever happened to the Capitol since the Civil War. I know that's what I've been told, and totally what I agree with. A lot of the footage that aired on all kinds of different channels was shot by a man called Elijah Schaffer, Carlson said, and introduced Schaffer. He was a reporter in the crowd that day, and he followed the aftermath of the day as well. So, since you were there, right up front, at the tip of the spear, more cliches, please, Tucker. As they always say in Washington, it didn't seem long from the perspective of people watch us on TV before it became harnessed by political interests in order to make political points. Did you see that happening? Yeah, I got the call when I was inside the Capitol, Schaffer said, documenting, by the way, and working my hardest to get the footage out to the public to show them what was happening. Yeah, when we talked about this on the day of and then a couple of days afterwards as well, a lot of the footage, a lot of the Twitter videos that were out there were used and they were shot by Schaffer, okay? So yeah, footage out to the public to show them what was happening. That's my job, simply put. And you go out there and the public deserves to know what is happening, yes. And I'm getting footage out, and I get a call from the CEO of the company, from Blaze Media, and he's telling me that they're coming after you, and they already and people are already alerting the FBI. Oh God, you're on the wrong side of the aisle to be on the business end of the FBI. And what really shocked me in the process of this is sitting members of Congress, Representative and Chinese aficionado Eric Swalwell, very well, was already weaponizing the FBI publicly and tagging them and getting my name out there to know that I'm a federally credentialed reporter doing my job alongside the left-wing outlets. Which one? Oh, James Earl Sullivan, yes, the Antifa member who sold his footage to CNN and who is also on Anderson Cooper 360. Oh yes, that one. But chose to begin to weaponize the FBI in the middle of this event against a political adversary. I'm shocked. A Democrat would weaponize the levers of power? I never thought I'd see the day. A sitting member of Congress is trying to clamp down on the reporting taking place in real time by using the FBI. No shit. He actually did, and realistically speaking, I know that it succeeded because the FBI, even shortly after this, started leaking information. Reporters saying, not even that I know of or my attorney didn't know, but he started leaking information. Somebody is saying that they were investigating me for wiretapping charges. I didn't know about this. They wouldn't tell us about this, but the FBI was literally leaking information to liberal reporters. But already a sitting member of Congress was boasting about alerting the FBI, saying, "Oh, here he is, check him out," knowing for sure that I have the credentials in DC to be covering these types of events, and had been successfully doing so the entire year of 2020 was BLM and Antifa. Yeah, he was also I know he was in Philadelphia. Yeah, he was in Kenosha as well. He was in a bunch of the big places. I'm not too sure if he was in Minneapolis, but I would have to think so. He was traveling to all of the riot hotspots, okay? Just jumping ahead a little bit. So we have a lot of tape of reps that night before encouraging people to break the law and break into the Capitol, Carlson said. And people clearly think that he's a federal agent. They call him that. But with your own eyes, you saw the same man encouraging people to want to be totally clear. So you saw this yourself, okay? Talking about the different police officers who were just waving people in. It's like, as long as you come through the door and make sure you don't knock over the velvet rope. And they're like, "Okay, cool, we didn't anticipate doing any of this, but since you're going to let us in, we might as well take advantage of the situation." Yeah, I will say there was a man on a bullhorn or a megaphone, and he was yelling to people to 1776, the front gate. People were not going along, though people were kind of like, "Oh man," they started saying, "You're Antifa." Yeah, false flag, no shit. And they started yelling at him, so people were not going along with acts of violence or encouraging to escalate things. It did not escalate until who is now identified as some reps began whispering in the ear of certain individuals, which led immediately to the instigation of violence. No, oh my god, one bad apple just decided to act out in rage, and then all of a sudden the violence in the air started to permeate everyone? No, that doesn't ever happen. I'm just so shocked reading all of this. So you're saying this in public, it's on videotape, and this man has not been indicted. There is no one in the Justice Department who will explain why, and anyone who asks the question is denounced as some sort of conspiracy theorist. Conspiracy theories are starting to sound more like spoiler alerts at this point. Hey, you're stealing a good line. As soon as the Patriot Purge series was announced mainstream and leftist media outlets began to call it deranged, trying to discredit the documentary before they'd even seen it. Of course, we know the facts. That's why we just need to continue to subpoena more people who have nothing to do with any of it. But we also have a different set of information, okay? So Tucker Carlson's highly produced little documentary. I'm sure it'll be fun. I would like to see it. I'm probably just not going to search it out, but we'll see here. But we got a DEA agent charged at, in MAGA riot, tells Tucker Carlson an FBI informant urged him to break into the Capitol. Yeah, so you have journalist Elijah Schaffer saying the same thing, and then you have a DEA agent who was there on the day who didn't even go into the building. He's an Army veteran, faces 15 years in prison despite never entering the fucking building. Seems politically weaponized with the charges now, doesn't it? A former Drug Enforcement Agency official faces up to 15 years in prison over the January 6 riots at the U.S. Capitol, despite his insistence that he never entered the building. Mark Ibrahim, a Army veteran who was fired by the DEA over his participation in the events of January 6th, an all-too-common refrain, spoke out in Tuesday's episode of Fox News host Tucker Carlson series on the fallouts of the riot. Ibrahim made the explosive claim that he was invited to attend Donald Trump's Stop the Steal rally by an FBI informant he knew from his military service, who subsequently urged him to join the mob breaking into the Capitol, which he refused. Weaponizing the FBI. Eric Swalwell's doing that, and then you got an FBI informant also telling people to go in there and instigate some violence. I'm starting to see a pattern here. That's a little bit fucking weird. Carlson claimed to have confirmed this by speaking to the alleged informant, whom he did not name. Of course, he's going to need to string this out a little bit longer. It is a 10-segment series, after all. It's a controversial series. I don't know what's so controversial about it. The fact that it's telling the truth. We've seen the document. Yeah, we know. Streaming service Fox Nation has drawn strong reactions for depicting law enforcement response to the riot as a political purge. Well, federal prosecutors accuse Ibrahim of bringing his duty weapon and badge to the Capitol grounds. There it is, okay, and brazenly displaying them. I don't really know. Outside of a picture, it's like, okay, you got one picture there, you got one close-up. It's like, okay, maybe, kind of, but again, is that worthy of 15 years in the clink? I don't know. You got to fucking ask yourself a couple of questions here. Brazenly displaying them and illegally climbing on the monument to deliver a monologue, according to charging documents. Oh my God, he spoke on a statue. Did he pull it down? If he would have actually just tried to pull it down or vandalized it, he probably would have got significantly fewer charges. I'm just saying, there's a track record there. Photos appear to show Ibrahim displaying his badge and weapon outside of the Capitol, but the FBI alleges that he told investigators that the weapon and credentials were never exposed during the riot that I know of. Again, okay, did he ever take the gun out of the holster? Okay, if you have your gun on your, if you have your badge on your belt, if you just move the wrong way, it could get exposed. So, They labeled me a domestic terrorist. I just want to see peace and unity, Ibrahim said during the new interview, because I've seen it in foreign countries between Sunni and Shia. Open violence in the streets. It is a sad and scary thing, he said, referring to opposing religious factions in the Muslim world. Thanks, Daily Mail. I'm glad you cleared that up for everyone. I'm afraid that if the division and dehumanization continues, that's where America is headed, and I pray that never happens. Man, I wish I could still be that idealistic. Ibrahim is charged with making false statements to federal agents, okay, entering restricted grounds with a firearm, okay, injuring or climbing on a statue and carrying a firearm on Capitol grounds. 15 years, you got to do it. He's a federal criminal, obviously. The episode also features interviews with two women whose actions on January 6th generated public controversy, though neither has been charged criminally. Oh, I guess they're... Ooh. Threw me off for a second. Too cute to be thrown in jail. Emily Grace Rainey was serving as an Army captain assigned to the 4th Psychological Operation. Oh my God, she's a PSYOP. That makes a lot more sense. At Fort Bragg, when she led a group of 100 members of Moore County Citizens for Freedom, which describes itself as an online as nonpartisan networking promoting conservative values. Okay, that doesn't really make sense, but again, this is also the Daily Mail, and they're more sketchy than Jackson Pollock's notepads, so take it with a grain of salt. But nonpartisan network promoting conservative values, okay, you can take that one of two ways, and it's like either you're lying or you think that conservative values aren't being represented by the Republican Party. So that could be fair. That could be a fair assessment of the situation, but that's also making a little bit of a reach. So to the Washington rally to stand against election fraud and support Trump. I don't know what you mean. It was the most secure and honest and open election of all time. I don't know why you'd even bother going. Rainey said the group consisted mostly of grandmothers, but she was accused of leading an armed militia to the Capitol. Is that where we got a little granny with her American flag? It's like, that's adorable. The Pentagon launched an investigation into Rainey's actions, and she submitted her resignation in September, saying she was pressured out after her clearance was revoked. No shit. Yeah, she's kind of adorable. Not so much on that one. Yeah, let's just see the spurg out about this documentary series here, because I see a bunch of names that I recognize. Okay, so Charlie Warzel. Okay, I think he's a CNN contributor. He's probably got to be. I don't normally retweet this stuff anymore, but this is just, I don't know, I feel like it's important. Okay, whenever you see important and journalist in the same fucking tweet, ugh. The only thing that would be more concerning is if he was parked outside of a preschool. See what arguably the most popular cable news personality in America is putting out is basically just InfoWars. Nah, it's not nearly as entertaining. Oh, Oliver Darcy, who literally makes a career out of just bitching and moaning about what Tucker Carlson does. This ought to be effusive. It is seriously difficult at this point to see much daylight between Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones. Oh, okay, cool. So I guess they're running around with the same sheet of talking points. Okay, make sure that you go ahead and conflate Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones, because we successfully demonized InfoWars and Alex Jones all those years ago, and now we can do it to Tucker Carlson because his one show dwarfs all of our ratings throughout the entire fucking day. So, oh, he wasn't done yet. And yet, no matter what line it crosses, you'll still have some outlets that pretend Fox is a serious news network. He works for CNN, by the way. They will write fluffy stories about how the company's leadership and accept the network's hollow talking points. It's wrong. Fox really must be covered for what it is. is. Tweets are hard, you bald-headed cunt. You just run back his social media, and it's just all Fox News bad, Tucker Carlson evil. And it's like, I don't even like Fox News that much. I think they suck, but Tucker Carlson's pretty good. Like 90% of the time, he's fine. He's like Boomer's #1 choice for news coverage, but I don't really care that much, okay? Honestly, if he's doing a good job with his documentary, that's awesome. Because somebody's got to tell the other side of this fucking story. Oh my god, Jared Holt, I seen a name, another one that I recognize. Alex doesn't need to exist anymore because the Murdoch family, okay, it's the boys at this point. The old man is long gone and forgotten. And just take a look at the political affiliations of the boys and it'll tell you a different fucking story. Murdoch family has filled that spot and tossed God knows how much money behind it. You're just jealous because you don't have any money yourself. God damn it, dude. Oh my god, Congresswoman Liz Cheney, a Republican... That's one thing you could call her. A Republican who voted to impeach Trump and blame the former president for inciting the rioters on January 6th tweeted, "It appears the Fox News is giving Tucker Carlson a platform." He works there. I think they would. To spread the same type of lies that provoked violence on January 6th. Yes, somebody should really stop Michael Byrd before he kills again. As Fox News knows, the election wasn't stolen and January 6th was not a false flag operation. Oh my god, you should definitely be able to confirm those allegations because you're on that select committee. Yeah, definitely. Oh my god, they're retiring Adam Kinzinger. This is how we're gonna end. Oh, he tweeted, "Anyone working for Fox News must speak out." Oh my god, anybody working for Adam Kinzinger should probably fucking speak out. Because anybody who virtue signals that much has a whole host of skeletons in their closet. And it's not just because this is just after Halloween and he's hiding his decorations. That motherfucker, I will guarantee, okay, he's grabbed a few asses in his time in his office. I'm just going to throw that out there. I just got a feeling on that one. And no, he didn't grab my ass. But we got a couple of feel-good stories after this. So if you'd like to stick around for that, probably by the end of those 10-15 minutes, it should be up. With that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.